Okay, this is a video for 7.1, 7.2 extra practice. I'm going to go through and just do the anchor points and asymptote and talk about growth and decay and everything for that. So the formula is a b to the x minus h plus k. So in this case, my b is 2. My a equals 3, h equals 0, k equals -4. My asymptote is at y equals -4 because it's the same thing as my k value. Anchor points, you have -1, 1 divided by b, b is 2. You have 0, 1, and you have 1, b, which is 2. So then from here, my next transformation is multiplying everything by a. A is 3, so everything on my y values is going to be times 3. So my next point is going to be 3y, so 3, which is my a value, a times y. So I have -1, 3 halves, 0, 3, 1, 6. And then I have no movement left, right, and now I have a k movement of down 4, so each one of these are going to subtract 4, so I'm going to take y minus 4. And so I'm going to take each of these points and minus 4, so I'd have 1, 2, 0, -1. And 1.5 minus 4 is going to be a -2.5, so I'm going to go -1 minus, I think it's 2.5. I should probably double check that. So 3 divided by 2 minus 4, yeah, -2.5. So these would be the 3 points I would graph, and then I would have also an asymptote here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So my asymptote would be here. And then graphing these points, which I will do in blue. -1, -2.5, 0, -1, 1, 2, so right here, and so then I would graph those points. And this is a growth because my b value is greater than 1. So, number 2, and I know these graphs are really hard to see. I apologize. I printed them, and so I have a feeling if you print it at home, they're really hard to see as well. So, b equals 1/2, h equals 0, k equals 1, a equals 2. So my starting points are going to be -1, the reciprocal 2, 0, 1, 1, 1/2. Since this is a half, it's going to be a decay. K value, I have an asymptote at y equals 1. So my asymptote I'll draw here in pink. So with these, I'm going to move down, and now I don't have to do anything, so I'm going to multiply by 2 on my y's. So I would have -1, 4, 0, 2, excuse me, 1, 1. And then my k value is going to add 1 to each one of these, so it's going to be -1, 5, 0, 3, 1, 2. So graphing those in blue, -1, 5, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 3, and 1, 2. So that's what you're doing when you're graphing those. So that's all I'm going to do on those two. I will finish up and post the answers here. Right, growth or decay, situation, how much is in the system after 6 days, Each day, 0.15 dissipates from the system. So in the day, you have dissipates, that'd be 0.85. Because if you have it 0, that'd be 1. I really don't like this question. So if you dissipate each day, that means you go decrease 15% each day. So that means you're at 0.85 each day. So 0.85 to the 0 power, day 1 you have 100%. 0.85 to the first power, you have 85%. 0.85 to the 6th power, you would have 37.37% because you're decreasing every day by 85%. So dissipation means you're minusing 0.15% each day. So out of 100, you would have 85% X. And so plugging that in, that's the equation. So Y equals, and then how much is the system after 6 days? So you take 0.85 times 6, that gives you 0.377, which is roughly 37.7% of the original drug. Going on to the next page. I don't normally ask you to write equations, so I don't know why that one's on there. Solving, you have to make common bases. So 4 and 64, 4x plus 25 equals 4 cubed x minus 5. You have to have the same base, so you have to make sure that you have a common base, and you have to make 64. The easiest way to do that is take 64, and you know you got a base of 4, divide by 4, and then keep dividing by 4, and then it tells you how many 4s you have, so that's your same base. Then you would take these two exponents, set them equal to, so x plus 25 equals 3 times x minus 5. On a fraction problem, I don't like fractions, so I would make this 49 to the negative 1 times 0.5x minus 5 equals 79x minus 4. 49 is really 7 squared. I would distribute the negative 1 at the same time, so times negative 0.5x plus 5 equals, whoops, that should be a 7. 9x minus 4. And then now I would take this and this and set them equal to each other and solve. You can't drop your exponents as you go down, you just have to add to them. Alright, write an exponential function. Anything with 0 is your 0 with your a. So you have y equals 3b to the x. So what you're going to do now is you're going to take this part here and plug it in. So 192 equals 3b to the 6. Divide both sides by 3. 64 equals b to the 6. And then you're going to take the 6th root. And I honestly do it by fractions. So on my calculator, that's really dark. I would take 64 to the 1/6 and get 2. So that means b equals 2. So the equation that I would write as my answer is y equals 2 to the x, and that's it. So each one of these, a is 12, and this one here, b equals 1/2. Alright, so these next questions here are ones that we didn't get to in the original video in 7.2, and I said I would go over them in class today for what we got going on. These printed out really long, so there we go. A savings account offers 0.7 interest compounded twice a month. If $110 deposit in the account, what will the balance be after 15 years? So the formula that you will get and use is one that I strongly dislike. I'm going to show you it. But we didn't get to it, and I knew I was going to have to, but they added it in. So A equals, so over here, A equals, over just a little bit, there we go. P is the principal of the amount of interest. This is in the account. T years, P is principal, and R is the annual interest rate, where N is the number of times it compounds in each year. Okay? So, in this case, this is my rate. As a decimal, it's going to be 0.007. It's compounded twice a month. So 2 times 12 equals 24. So 24 times in a year. This is my principal. And then T is here. So the formula which we will give you is your principal times 1 plus your rate divided by number times compounded in T. So you just plug things in. So this would be 110 times 1 plus 0.007 divided by 24, because it's in times 1 year, twice a month. Twice times 12 months is 24, and then 24 times 15. Then what I do is I type this in my calculator. What I do first is I do 1 plus parenthesis 0.007 divided by 24, enter, exponent of 24 times 15, enter, times 110. So in 15 years, at a 0.7% interest, I would make $122.17, or $122.18. Normally they don't round up in savings accounts, but sometimes they do. So, here's what I do on calculator. I do first, second, third. Alright, so once again, a college visit pays 13.2 semi-annually. That means twice a year. So this is rate. Rate equals 0.132. Semi-annually is 2 times a year. 12 years is T. 21,000 is P. So it would be 21,000 times 1 plus 0.132 divided by 2. 2 years times 12. So once again, what I do first is I do the innermost parenthesis. So I go 1 plus parenthesis 0.132 divided by 12 parenthesis, enter, caret to exponent 2 times 12, excuse me, not 15, enter, times 21,000. So in 12 years, this account would have 27305.30. In 3 years, I want to have a $1,000 account and pay 6% monthly. How much will I have to invest now? This is working backwards. So 1,000 equals X times 1 plus 0.06, and they're going to do it monthly. So that's 12 times in a year. 12, and then we'll do 3 years. So the first thing to do is figure out what this value is. So 1,000 equals X times, and I'm going to get that answer from my calculator. So 1 plus parenthesis 0.06 divided by, we're going to do it monthly, 12, enter, caret, 12 times 3, because they're going to do it in 3 years. So this answer here is 1.196680525. Yes, I would use the whole thing, so I'm going to go 1,000 divided by, and I'm going to use my answer button, So I'm going to go second, answer, enter. So 835.6449. So I guarantee you would have to round up and get 6.5, but either 6.4 or 6.5 would be sufficient. Let me move that up a little bit. So that is the part that we kind of didn't do with 7.2 before the wonderful crisis happened. I will finish this up and get the answers uploaded.